Hello YouTube, this is Matthew Williams. Just making a quick video to add a bit of extra detail to a response which was placed on one of my YouTube videos. Somebody said, are there any crop circles out there which would be too complex or impossible for a human to make? And my answer was, well, no, not at this point. There's never been a crop circle out there which I would consider to be too complicated or too strange or even too big for a human team to create. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that I could create them. I did go on to explain to the user that some of these circles which have been appearing in the last couple of years are so big and so complicated that I personally wouldn't be able to attempt to undertake something like that. Now, when I say this, what I mean is that I wouldn't be able to coordinate and choreograph such a thing. It would take a lot of effort for me to do it, put it like this. Some of the teams that are working out there now are working on such scale and such detail and complexity that it works a little bit outside the areas that I'm kind of comfortable with working. And a lot of my circles in the past have been a lot simpler affairs, and I kind of like doing simpler circles because they don't stretch you so much. You know, when you're actually working and you do get a little bit of time to sit down, have a rest, have a chat, you know, work things out, and you're not working on a sort of frantic pace that you do on some of the bigger design circles. Now, that being said, if I was asked to go out and work on a team that was working on something extremely complicated like bitmaps or, you know, or some of the interference pattern stuff, if you're working on that sort of level and you've got somebody who knows what they're doing, if they tell you what to do and they say, right, you know, go and do this, work this circle out, scribe this, do this line, flatten this bit, don't flatten that bit, move over there, do this. If you've got somebody who's actually telling you what they need you to do, and you get into a sort of rhythm of understanding, right, this is what's coming next, then things start to flow and you can work quite quickly, even though you're working on a complicated design. But the level of fitness required and the level of continual, you know, banging out circles all the time means that it can get quite tiring, and it can get quite confusing, because when you're taking instructions from somebody else, you don't kind of know always where you're standing and what you're doing, you know, because the other person is in charge. So those sorts of circles, I do tend to find that if I've been asked to help out in the past on those types of designs, that even though I know what the design is going to look like, the finished product should look like, that whilst I'm actually taking part, you tend to not know really what you are doing. You know, you kind of think, well, I kind of know roughly what I'm doing, and I know it's going to look right in the end, but you know, I'm kind of scratching my head whilst I'm doing these things, and you literally have to put your faith in the person who knows the design and the person who's actually designed these things, because they are very complicated. And you know, the circle makers, the stompers, you know, the workers aren't always, you know, quite aware of what's going on. So I kind of dropped back from the level that some of the new circles are kind of being done to. Back about 2002, I kind of, you know, stopped really being heavily involved in doing anything, and you know, I've only made a couple of circles since then, you know, maybe a couple per year just to keep my hand in, and I haven't actually been doing anything on the level of what I was doing. I've kind of just said, you know, I'm not involved now, and to be honest, it's been all taken over by people who are sort of very much obsessed with the subject and produce fantastic designs to an incredible standard, and you know, this is how it's carried on. Now, you know, anybody, myself or any other circle maker, or even a newcomer, could probably be taken out and told what to do and take part in helping out on these big designs, but actually the minds of the people involved who create these fantastic patterns and put them out there in the fields, those minds are a new, well, they're not a new generation, but they're an actually older generation of circle makers that have just really come up to new standards that that are sort of carrying it on. And to be honest, it's kind of hard for anybody who's new out there on their own to kind of meet those standards, because those are very high standards, and there's only 3 or 4 really high quality sets of teams that are out there now doing this stuff, but they're doing them in large numbers, whereas previously in years when things weren't so complicated, you might have had 9 or 10 teams going out there and doing complicated stuff, but not having to do so much during the summer. Now you've got about 3 or 4 very high quality teams producing, much more stuff. They're banging out loads and loads of stuff. So, say thank you to those circle makers who are actually frantically producing, large amounts of stuff per summer. And it's really down to them that we could say thanks that the stuff is out there. And but that's just to give you an idea of kind of what's going on at the moment. No, I couldn't do those complicated designs, not on my own. I could if possibly, I really put my mind to it and, kind of really, really wanted to work damn hard. But, I leave it to the younger generation, let's say, who really do have the energy and the zest for this now. And I concentrate really on flying over the crop circles and taking some of these people up flying to have a look at their work afterwards. And that's just for fun, so that's where I'm at the moment. But if sometimes if I'm asked, I will possibly go out and help to make up numbers on these things. So that's just to give you a little idea of what's going on out there this year.